Okay, now we're going to do some graphing. We're going to graph these intervals on the number line, and this is called the interval notation. Our first interval to graph is left parenthesis, -3, comma, 4, and then the right is a square bracket. Those have particular meaning. So left parenthesis means that that point is not included, or right parenthesis. So you would use an open point. So right at -3, I'm going to put in an open point. The square bracket means that 4 is included. So square means a filled in point. Okay, so right at +4, I'm going to fill it in. And our interval goes between those 2 points, not including -3. So there's our whole interval. Everything between -3 and 4, not including -3, but including 4. Okay, so next example is the interval between +1 and infinity. Now notice, this one happens to also include +1, but the reason why the infinity symbol has a parentheses to show that it doesn't include it is because infinity is not a number, it's an idea. So if it's a positive or a negative infinity, then you will always see the parentheses bracket to imply that it's not a number. So therefore it doesn't get included. Now 1 is included, so we're going to fill in that point, and everything to the right of that point, that's our positive infinity, is included. Now I tend to put my arrows above the number line. I think the book puts them on top of it. I just want to make sure that you see where I'm marking. Okay, let's go to the last couple of examples. I want to make sure that absolute value makes sense to you. So absolute value, it works a lot like parentheses in order of operations, but it is in itself an operation. Absolute value is used if we're looking at distance, and we're going to use it here in a bit. So the distance between 2 points always has to be positive. Because a negative distance doesn't make sense. So absolute value is useful when you know you have a number that has to always be positive. So we're going to do the math inside the parentheses. And here the absolute value are a grouping symbol. They do serve as parentheses for order of operation. So 3 combined with a -10 is a -7. Here's our absolute value. +4 minus. Now I have absolute values around a +8. So when I apply absolute value, it makes everything positive. Since 8's already positive, I'm just going to apply absolute value by dropping the absolute value bars. Let's take a look at the absolute value of -7. It's going to go positive. And now let's just finish up the math. 7 + 4 is 11, minus 8. Looks like ultimately we get a 3. Okay, and last is a couple of examples on finding the distance between 2 points. Now we could use absolute value, but if you just set up the right point minus the left point, including any signs, then you will always get a positive distance. For example, this point here on the right, it looks at it like it's at 3. And then on the left, it looks like it's at -6. So we're looking for the distance between 3 and -6, or -6 and 3. But we do want to write it the rightmost point minus the leftmost point. And I had to include that negative. Those two negatives are going to simplify to positive. Okay, now we could have counted that off. We start at the left point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to get to the right point. So either way, it helps to know the math. Here I threw some fractions in there that you have to kind of figure out. So when we look between 1 and 2, we have 2 bars. That means every one of those bars is standing for a third. So our rightmost point is at 1 and 1/3. And it looks like our leftmost point is in between 0 and -1, so that's -1/3, -2/3. Okay, so we know where our points are. Now we just 1 and 1/3 minus -2/3. And again, those will go positive. I could add this 1/3 to 2/3 and get 3/3. So 1 1/3 plus 2/3 is definitely 2. And you can see that fairly intuitively. However, I did want to remind you, usually when I'm adding, well, with subtraction, I always go to, improper fractions. So I'm going to change that 1 1/3 to an improper fraction. So it's 1 times 3 plus 1, which is 4/3. Okay, so I could have done it that way as well. Sometimes it's hard to do the carry with fractions. So when in doubt, go to improper fractions and then go back and reduce them. And that is the last example for you for this section. I will see you in class.